Welcome to part 5 of 8 of our mini-series on Hanukkah. This is Discovering Biblical Treasures. We come together to continue to talk about the different aspects of Hanukkah, and I'd like to spend these next 5 minutes or so recapping what we learned in 1 Maccabees, because 2 Maccabees is simply a repetition of 1 Maccabees with a lot more detailed information. So instead of going through all of 2 Maccabees, I'm going to take a little twist, do a little recap, and then continue with some traditions and some other worthwhile information I found about Hanukkah. First, remembering that Maccabees is not the surname of the family that Judas and his brothers belonged to. They were Hasmoneans, and Maccabee means the hammer because he put the hammer down on the Greeks and kicked them out of Jerusalem. He was the son of Mattathias. He was the third son of 5. And when his father, who was a priest, died, Judas was given the reins of controlling the revolt because he was the best suited to be able to lead the army. The Judean revolt, it goes back to around 198 BCE. This is when Syria's Seleucid dynasty forcibly took Jerusalem from its previous rulers, who happened to be the Egyptian Ptolemies. Now, these two groups actually were created when Alexander the Great divided his empire into 4 parts. And of course, the minute he did that, the revolts, the fighting between the different factions began. And what happened was in 168 BCE, the Seleucids told, or I should say gave orders, for the Hellenization of Judea. They wanted to eliminate the Jewish religion, the Jewish practices. And at the same time, Antiochus, who was the ruler of the Seleucids, started a war with the Ptolemies, who were in Egypt. And of course, a lot of the fighting is going to occur in the Judean area. And the Jews resisted as much as they could and had these little terrorists, you may call them, or guerrilla tactics, because the Seleucids wanted to turn the temple into a gymnasium and make it a pagan worship site. And that was just abhorrent. Judas, as he took over for the revolt, he was able to recapture Jerusalem. And what he did was he dedicated, or I should say rededicated, the temple by getting all of the Hellenistic stuff, the pagan stuff, out of the temple. And he rededicated it to the Lord God on the 25th day of Kislev. He celebrated it for 8 days because the original dedication of the temple, of the first temple, and Hezekiah's dedication of the temple was 8 days long. That's why he picked 8 days. Eventually, Judas is going to get killed because we have to remember, contrary to how we celebrate Hanukkah today, the fighting did not stop. It's not going to stop almost until the Romans show up. It just continues. Simon, Judas' brother, will take over the revolt when Judas dies, and then Jonathan, the next brother in line, takes over when Simon is dead. Well, that's our recap of 1 Maccabees and the basics of what the revolt was all about and what Hanukkah stands for. It was to rid Israel, to rid Judah, especially in the temple, of the pagan influences. God bless you for watching this part 5 of 8 of our Discovering Biblical Treasures series on Hanukkah. God bless, and I'll see you in part 6. Shalom.